One of the things that's really sparked my interest is that the kids were saying that they acknowledge all the problems that screen time causes with relationships and technology, but they see their parents running around so hard trying to counteract that screen time. So they take them to ballet in Brisbane and baseball in Kyogle and all those things. And the kids then worry that the parents are giving up too much of their lives, running them around to make sure they have a really good childhood. So I thought that was really interesting. And then the kids explained that when things get pressurised or a problem comes up, the parents always bring up the point that they've made these sacrifices to make sure their kids have had a good childhood.
Yeah.
And I've got the quote here because I want to remember it. One of the kids said, the whole thing of running around to different activities to have a good childhood is something that's come from the adults, not us kids. I just found that really interesting because it tells me that maybe the parents' ideas of what a good childhood is and maybe the kids' ideas of what a good childhood is, maybe they're not aligned.
No.
Maybe they're a bit different. And maybe if we could understand the difference between the two, we could have it so that the parents are happier and the kids are happier.
That would be wonderful. It's really beneficial to both sides.
Yeah.
So Max, what have you enjoyed about the day so far?
I really enjoy that we get to speak to so many different people from different times and places and family situations. It's really interesting to hear how there's such similarities between us, that we're all experiencing the same pressures and same inequalities as everyone else. We're all basically the same, even though we're so different times and places and people.
Just having everyone communicate together and coming together to make this big form of people who are just sharing their times and their difficulties and stuff like that. I like to see I can meet new people and see how they develop in life.
I've really enjoyed spending time with the young people who are here. They're being very honest, very open, very willing and prepared to talk about the experiences they're having as young people growing up in a rapidly changing world.
Everyone has something worthwhile to share, so don't hold back. Even if you're a little shy, have a go. The more you get involved, the more you'll get out of the day.
As Christy said before, we were having a discussion and I came up with a point that some games are actually designed by psychologists and just to get people hooked and keep going and keep buying them, I guess.
I realised that it doesn't affect me, but other people, when they have to get off and stuff, that they throw a lot of tantrums and, I guess, like that.
Yeah, so helping other people in need, that's a big step of building a healthy relationship with other people.
One of the things I found really interesting is that particularly when the boys and the girls talked about the gender stereotypes that they're encountering as they're moving into adolescence, sounded to me like exactly the same that I experienced when I was in primary school and early high school, and what I saw my brothers and others go through.
We did a section today where we looked at what are some of those messages that kids get in the media of what it means to be a boy and what are some of the messages that it means to be a girl. These are some of the messages that boys are getting.
You're not allowed to cry.
They're very tough.
Strong, show-offs, mean, cool and funny.
Boys swear. Big muscles and an attractive girlfriend.
Being cool, handsome, good-looking and have beautiful teeth.
Brave and fearless.
To be a bully.
Okay, and these are the messages that girls are getting today.
Curvy, small waist, clear skin, thin, tanned, normal hair and emotional.
Makeup and the new fashions.
They have to be a drama queen.
Girls must be the same size as the others, always wear short clothes to pick up all the boys with layers over layers of makeup on.
They have to have everything that's at the top of the market.
Are expected to get married and have kids.
Girls have to be fancy, like they can't play in the dirt and can't do football.
Emotional and sensitive.
Everything has to be perfect.
Like someone off Mean Girls.
They have to be beautiful.
During the forum, we explored some of the stereotypes of what it means to be a teenager today, and often when we look at the messages kids are sent around that, it's about being reckless, it's about getting into alcohol and drugs, it's about having to conform, it's about having to look a certain way, and there's a lot of pressure around that. Some of the kids really challenged that today, and they said, well, hang on, what if I am a kid who cares, or what if I am a kid who's responsible? Those messages don't fit.
Well, coming from teenagers with the peer pressure thing, or the things that's in, it's often you see that if you don't have those things and if you do stand up for what you think and you're not cool, you sort of end up being the cool ones. I don't know, but like if you're not into the things and like you don't act cool and you're like really different, you end up being the cool one, not like those other people that want to be cool and act cool.
Often it's like portrayed that the popular people are people that are like rude, but often if you're kind and interesting, then they end up being the ones, like she said, that are actually cool because people are interested in like listening to them because they don't put others down.
It says a lot about the way you take things, because if you take it and say, oh, I don't care because I've got these shoes and I'm proud of them anyway, then they're going to say, oh, okay, well, she doesn't really care. Whereas if you do take it the other way, then people are going to look at you and say, oh, well, we can keep going and keep getting at her because she does care that she doesn't have those things.
I think the power of having a cross-generational forum where you bring children and adults together to talk about what's going on, because sometimes we just accept things and we roll with the punches and things start to get out of control before we realise how far they've gone. And so the adults shared today, it was a great experience for them to really be with the kids and hear what the kids are saying. Not telling the kids this is what you need to do, but just sharing the life experiences and bringing that together and having those discussions is very, very important.
People used to be more in a community kind of bubble with the media having less impact. Like there wouldn't be this typical famous role model who is on the internet, or not just on the internet but everywhere.
Pressure on boys particularly to look good and to have good hair and have good abs and I think that sort of body image stuff is a little bit more intense for boys today than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
In those times where I really feel like there's no one that understands me, or that no one cares, or I feel like I need to be angry and putting that back on someone else, that those people that are closest to us and have been closest to us are always there.
My mother was trying to tell me how important it was to be constant, to stand still and stand for something and to be myself, and not to get pushed around by all those winds of other people's interests and other people's criticisms or other people wanting something from me. And I thought about that when I was invited to speak about this topic today, because when my mother sent me that note, and I'd been an adult for quite a while by then, it just seemed to me like a really important piece of advice. And I thought about how many times in my life I felt maybe I hadn't been true to myself. And a lot of those times when I thought about it was when I was a teenager, when I wanted so much for my friends to like me that I would do things with them because I wanted them to like me and I wanted to be like them.
I went into thinking I had to be tough, and from there, you know, when things happened, you know, that I was genuinely upset about, I'd be like, whatever, I don't care, whatever. And that became quite big, and what that did is people think that you don't care, so it puts up a bit of a guard and it gets people to back off. So when you actually wanted that care, or you wanted people to understand you, when you act tough, it actually does the opposite. It pushes people away. So one of the biggest lessons I've had in my life is to learn to not put that I don't care attitude out. The more that we act like we don't care, the more hurt we actually get in that.